Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure review, and today we are going to travel in the time machine and go way back 14 years to the year 2008 as we take a look at this. The Mattel Dark Knight Movie Masters Batman with Crime Scene Evidence. Alright, so I think I might have showcased this figure once before, but I don't think I ever did like a full review on it. This is actually one of my favorite Batman figures of all time, period. I think as a complete package, everything about it is like perfect. For one, this has one of the most eye-catching, complex, and beautiful package designs. It comes on a standard card, but the plastic bubble is just amazing. You know, there's so much thought that went into this. You know, kind of like recreates like the glass is broken here, and then it goes down about like an inch to inch and a half with the Dark Knight logo kind of floating above the clouds. Beautiful illustration of the Christian Bale Batman. It comes with crime scene evidence, so there's like an evidence bag, and then like a small, if I had to guess, maybe this might be a 1/6 scale Batman mask. And of course, you get the Movie Masters figure, which back then I think was really something. Sculpting wise and detailing wise, I think it still holds up. But in terms of the articulation, you know, it's very antiquated, but it's a beautiful figure nonetheless. On the back, we have a nice fig photography photo of Batman right here. And here are some of the other figures. There's the Chase figure, which is Batman Unmasked. And this figure was also made available as a repaint in the exclusive Toys R Us 3-pack that came out some years later, that included the Batman Begins Movie Masters figure, this figure, and also a variant on this Chase one. We have the Heath Ledger Joker, which looks awesome, and then we have one of his goons. So for me, this is one of my favorite Batman figures, period. I love this era. I'm a big fan of the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight movies. I think they're amazing. And I think they still hold up pretty well today also. So I'm really glad I still have this mint on card. But fortunately, I do have this figure loose. And we're going to take a look at that today. So let's get started. Alright, so first off, this Movie Masters figure is much smaller when compared to today's action figures. It's actually 6 1/4. It feels smaller if you compared it to like a Mattel DC Classics Universe figure. It feels just a teeny bit smaller than those figures, but I think, you know, what this figure lacks in size, it really makes up for in terms of the detail and presentation. As you can see, it's a beautiful likeness to Christian Bale's Dark Knight Batman. Has all the texturing on the Under Armour, the elevated armor plating, subtle changes in the color on the chest and on the biceps. Beautiful utility belt, nice shade of gold. It's really well done, and it's awesome. One of the downsides with these older figures, though, is that over time, for whatever reason, the plastic, especially the softer rubbery pieces, they feel like they're just gradually deteriorating, and they're becoming a little bit tacky to the touch, and they just become like dust magnets. So prior to shooting this video, I just scrubbed this guy down with like a toothbrush and dishwashing soap just to get all the dust off of this guy, because for some figures, you know, I mean, of course figures get dusty over time, but the material on some of these softer plastics, they just become like complete dust magnets, and it's kind of disgusting. So I'm not sure how well like something like this is going to withstand the test of time. For example, you know, there's some Toy Biz figures from the late 90s, early 2000s, you know, some of them feel like they're like disintegrating and melting. You know, the plastic's like this, like becoming all gross and sticky. But, you know, looking past, you know, those production faults, this is a beautiful figure. Just look at that. It makes me hopeful that maybe one day McFarlane Toys will, you know, do their take on the Christian Bale Batman. I'd love to see, their version of this character as a figure in the McFarlane line. I love the subtle change in color too in the armor plating, like how for the most part it's kind of gray and black, but then on certain pieces, it's kind of like a subtle, like gunmetal. It's weird because your eye doesn't catch it, but when you look at it on camera, the camera really does accents those different colored pieces. It's a nice figure. I like this guy a lot. It's amazing. It's so well done. Sculpting wise, this guy still holds up in my opinion. It's only just the articulation. Over time, there's been so many advancements in action figure technology. So speaking of articulation, let's take a look at what this guy could do and can't do. His head rotates. Doesn't look down too much. Doesn't look up all that much either. His arms rotate. They go outward, but as you notice, the upper armor plate hits the shoulder. He does have a bicep cut here. Single pinned elbow. That's very dated. Wrist articulation. He does have an ab crunch, and it's kind of hidden with all the armor plating, so that's kind of nice. It doesn't really stick out. But at the same time, it doesn't provide that much range of motion. It seems like it's almost a waste. Arches back a little. Swivels at the waist. Legs kick up. They kick out. There's a swivel. And the knees bend. Ankle articulation. Very solid figure, Like I said, this thing came out in 2008. One of my favorite Batman figures. Is this something you should hunt down? It varies. I think if you grew up during this time period, or if you're just a big fan of the Christian Bale, or the Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale Batman, Dark Knight character in movies, I think it's worth, picking up. I don't think these figures are very expensive on the secondary market either. They were very mass produced, but fantastic figure. Definitely one of my favorites. I just love those, the Nolan Dark Knight films. They're just amazing. And it was so cool with Christian Bale. I think there was I think initially there might have been some people that were skeptical of whether or not he could pull off the role of Batman and Bruce Wayne. But if you saw American Psycho, he was very good at playing a complicated, complex character that almost kind of had a dual identity. And the suit, I think also, the Dark Knight suit, this suit's different than the one that was seen in the Batman Begins movie, the first film. But I think, this style of body armor kind of was adapted, or at least it kind of inspired what we saw later on in other medias, like in the Injustice video games, and then also in the Arkham series of video games also. This much more realistic tactical body armor as opposed to the traditional spandex. It's almost kind of like they took what Michael Keaton was given in the '89 Batman film and kind of just raised it, so many bars so that it kind of fit in with the aesthetic and the realism of a modern, soldier, or what a warrior would wear in the mid 2000s and early 2000s. Great figure. Love this guy a lot. And there's different interpretations of this figure also. I believe Mafex has their take on this guy. I can't remember if there's a figure arts version of this. But, beautiful figure. Alright, so let's wrap this up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.